it's me and these 4 other women. We're connected by the hair, and it's about the relationship between women and their hair and appearance and each other. And so those works are out of a series that I do in Lagos, which is about the presence of women in public space. And those pieces are more about what it means to physically be present and how the physical presence of a female body in particular interrupts ways of interacting. Because I've observed that space in Lagos feels very gendered, like that men can take up a lot of physical space in public and women do so less, and men can speak and be heard in public in ways that women can't. And so I was very interested, the work is about exploring that and interrupting, and there's kind of these unspoken prohibitions about the body and sex and sexuality, and I feel like those things don't need to be, like I don't need to hide my body in a particular way to be present in public space. And so how do I make that happen? Beauty was so great. Well, first there was this whole thing about us having to pay to be in the space and having to pay a bribe to the the city workers. And so while I was figuring out, okay, how much do we have to pay these people? This friend of mine who's a musician, she just said, we're not paying them anything. We're artists, we have a right to be here, we have a right to express ourselves. And with that, I just said, okay, fine, go. But they were still present throughout, and they kind of waited till the end to come ask for money. And after 4 hours of being attached by the hair, I just felt like, you're not getting anything. We stood in the sun for 4 hours going through this labor, and you want us to pay you? This is absurd. But this is like, these are things that happen in the world. So that was really interesting, kind of this... Space is always regulated in Lagos, even though there's a lot of people don't own anything, but they will take a space and make it their own and charge for it and regulate it. And so that was a very interesting response. And then there was a group of schoolgirls that watched, and I think they were really excited to see us doing this kind of fantastic thing. There were people who said, oh, they're not going to make it. They're not going to be able to do this. Afterwards, we had this big crowd gather, and I think that they were really interested in hearing us articulate, like, why are you doing this? And the idea these ideas about what are the connections that women have to each other and their hair and their appearance, and we spend so much time on our appearance, but what about these other things that are really important? I think that was very interesting for people to hear. My primary interest in doing performance with other people is the experience of the performer. So I'm really thinking about that first. And I think for the performers, it's this very exhilarating feeling to stand in Lagos in this very vulnerable manner because you can't run away from anything. And to know that you can do this for 4 hours. And you're kind of protected by the audience, but also the audience is probably your biggest foe. And it's very, and one of the women, about an hour and a half in, she was like, this is crazy, we need to get out. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so uncomfortable. And it was very uncomfortable. And she's like, let's just end it. And I was just like, well, you can end it, and it brings out all this like anger. And then by the end, I just love her so much because by the end we were interviewed and someone said, well, what did you do in those moments when you felt like you weren't going to make it? And she's like, oh, I just drew on the power of the other women and just knew that we could get through it. And I just loved how that was her memory and reflection of the piece. And it was just so beautiful to me, yes, this happened, but this also happened. We could get through it, and I knew the other women were there, but really what was going on is it's not easy. So so that was really lovely too, that sort of like experience of knowing that you're setting up these conditions where other people can feel the strength and power of their own bodies and presence. And for me, because I'm asking all these questions, it's exciting that other people are also sort of connecting to those questions, and that they're relevant, and what they're thinking is changing me too. And because when she was saying, I need to get out of this, I was just like, what was I thinking? Why am I here? And why did I decide to do this thing? And, I can't believe I'm putting these other people in this uncomfortable situation. And then you're just like, no, she needs to take care of herself and be strong, and not only for herself, but for me. And so it's like this very interesting thing about the collective, and sort of really how you negotiate this collective sense of power and the responsibility you have to that.